Hello, welcome to RC Video Reviews. Today it's a first look and maiden flight for my Extreme Flight Edge 540. Well, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know this is definitely the biggest airplane I've ever flown. So in terms of models, you know, I've flown the full-size stuff, but in terms of models, this definitely takes the cake. It's the 78-inch Edge 540 in the red and white color scheme. And it's massive. That's all I can say, is it's massive. I thought we'd spend a few minutes talking about the assembly process, and then we'll get a maiden flight in and see how it does on the maiden. On the front end, the motor is a Sunny Sky 40cc motor. Now they recommend an X-Power 40cc or a 35cc, but the Sunny Sky fit the bill, and I saved myself a little money using that. I also used a Miracle spinner. That's a 3.5-inch aluminum spinner, and I got that from Valley View RC. And I'm also using an XOR wooden prop. That one's a 2210. So that takes care of the front end. For the ESC, I'm using a Hobbywing Fly Fun 130 amp ESC that I actually got from Hobbywing North America Direct. And that's an Opto ESC. I'll cover the servo and receiver power in just a minute. On the servos, I'm using Savox 1270 TGs. There's a look at one right there. That's a 1270, and I'm using the 1.5-inch extension arms from Northwest RC. And then if you notice here on the back, the control horns are carbon fiber and they're glued in, and there's a double control horn with a ball link in the middle. And that is a turnbuckle, and it works like a turnbuckle. So you can adjust your throws just by turning that turnbuckle right there. Very easy to do. I got those from Chief Aircraft out in the West Coast up in Oregon. And I chose the Savox 1270s because they're making something like at 7.4 volts, they're doing 487 ounce-inches of torque, which is substantial. You also might notice there is a quick release on the elevator. Now, one thing I don't understand about this arrangement is the elevators go on and off very easy, but you also would have to disconnect either the servo arm from the servo or the linkage on the control horn. So I'm not sure what's up with that. I think on the bigger planes, the servo hopefully goes inside the stabilizer, which would make a lot more sense for that. But right now, the only way you could take that off is if you disconnected one of the mechanical linkages. So for my purposes, I probably won't be using the quick disconnect for the stabilizer. Also, you can see on the back here, we've got a rudder. That's a pull-pull connection. So I used a cable pull-pull, and that goes to a double set of carbon fiber horns on that side, and another set of double-sided or double horns on this side as well. Those are, of course, epoxied in. And regarding the hinge surfaces, all of them came hinged. The ailerons came hinged, and they had shrink covering over the gap, which is really nice. And the horizontal stabilizer and the elevator were hinged and shrink covering over the gap there as well. And then the rudder, that was the only thing that had to be glued in. And of course, I used epoxy there. So overall, I can say that, and they even cut out the servo openings. So you didn't even have to do that. And because it's a quick connect, there's no saddle like on a traditional build where you have a saddle that you have to worry about level. There is no saddle on this one. It's got a carbon fiber spar and an incidence spar to maintain the incidence angle. And that's it. It just sticks in there. And these little quick releases latch onto the screws that go inside the fuselage. So really neat assembly in the back, very easy to do. You know, as far as the build goes, the whole thing was ridiculously easy to do. I've also got side force generators, and another neat little aspect about these is that they're quick release. So there's a couple of thumb screws on here. You loosen those off, and then you can slide that side force generator forward, and it pops off over, this hole pops off over the thumb screw. So a nice little touch to make breakdown at the field or assembly at the field a lot easier. Very, very nice. Then on the canopy, same kind of quick release mechanism. You just pull that pin and slide it forward, and that latches the canopy. Speaking of the canopy, let's take a look inside. So inside, I'm running a couple of 6L 5000s from Hyperior. Those are 75C batteries. It's the same thing I run on my Tron and my Kraken, actually, same batteries. And you notice they're in series. I've got XT90 connectors with the spark arrestor, and there's the main lead going into the ESC, and the wiring is 10 AWG in case you're curious. There's also an incidence retaining pin up here, and I wanted to show you the quick release on the wing real quick. If you pull this pin out and lift it up, you notice that little tab that goes up. The reason they do that is that prevents you from putting the canopy down. You can't put the canopy down if your wings aren't locked, which is really cool because I've heard that story where people have talked about flying and not latching their wings. So that little mechanism prevents you from flying without locking those wings down. For power, I told you I'd mention this later, I'm using a 2-cell 2200 Hyperior, and that's plugged into a 3-way harness on the receiver. So I've got 3 leads going from the battery into the receiver, and then that's what feeds the power for the servos as well. Just a side note, the Savox 1270 TG servos are specifically designed to utilize 8.4 volts of power. So they're specifically designed to be connected to a 2-cell battery. The nice thing about that is I save myself the money on a BEC, and I think a lot less error prone as long as you keep that battery charged up before you fly. The last thing inside is I have a FreeSky FLVSS sensor. Now it's only connected to one battery, but the batteries are in series. So one battery, as long as you have your voltage set correctly for say 3.6 or 365, and you set your alarm on your radio for that, it should work just fine. It still will let you know that you've got a pair of batteries getting down low. Now, of course, it's not as accurate as doing 2 of those in series, which you can do, and getting alerts for all 12 cells, but that's all I had, and I think it's better than nothing, so at least I'll know when one of the batteries is getting down into that 3.8 volts per cell, 3.7 range, and I'll be able to land. So regarding the assembly, one of the real nice features of this plane is the way the cowl works out. So the screws go from this bulkhead right here forward into the cowl, and the cowl came with wood blocks inside and blind nuts to hold that cowl on. There's also one more screw down at the bottom holding that cowl up there, and it lined up perfectly. So it was a real, regarding fit and finish, this is just one of the best airplanes out there, I think. Extreme Flight just makes really good fit and finish planes. Now that said, there is one area of concern regarding the fit, and that is the way this geometry is set up. So notice that servo is underneath the horizontal stabilizer. A lot of times in these big planes with the throws being that long, the servo is mounted out here in front of the stabilizer and kind of in line with the stabilizer. I'm not sure if they did that to hide it or what, but the thing I want to make you aware of is that when you do a full down elevator, that geometry starts getting very close. And when I initially set this up, what I noticed was that at full throw, if I put any pressure on this elevator on the backside, so imagine the plane being inverted with full down elevator, so you've got pressure on the back side of the elevator or the top side of the elevator, what was happening is it was causing this linkage to move up toward the stabilizer, and that bound up the servo. So that was a real deal. I actually saw that comment on RC groups, and it was a real deal. The way one guy solved it was by putting a wood block on the stabilizer, and that prevented that control horn from going into that bind territory. The way I resolved it for today anyway is I just reduced my outputs so that it can't get into that bind territory. And when I let go, of course, the elevator goes back with the way it's supposed to. So that's one thing I did want to point out. I don't really know if there's any way to fix that. I know some other things have been attempted, like different arms and different holes and whatnot, but I'm not sure that there is a fix for that other than using a block. So regarding geometry, just wanted to point that out if that's a meaningful thing to you. Like if you need every last bit of throw, that could be meaningful to you. Didn't have any issues with movement on the rudder. I've got full deflection using that 3-inch arm. That is a 3-inch extension from Northwest RC. Okay, that covers the assembly. Now it's time to fly it. Time for one last control systems check before I take off. So I'm looking for the right aileron to come up, and it does. Left goes down, of course. The left aileron should come up, and it does. I'm looking for the elevator to come up, and it does. I'm looking for the elevator to go down, and it does. The rudder should go right. There it is. And the rudder should go left. There it is. And we'll just goose the power. And we've got power. Boy, there's a blast of air for you. All right, the wind is coming from my left, so it's going to be a right to left takeoff. Man, that is a big airplane, isn't it? Look at that thing. All right, let's see what it's got. That is an impressive airframe. It's massive. All right, first flight of this 78-inch Edge 540 from Extreme Flight. Here we go. All right, so far so good. Needs a little elevator. Put a couple clicks in there. A couple more clicks of elevator. And there we go. So I got about 6 clicks of elevator in there, and that looks to be flying nice and straight.
6 minutes.
Okay, that feels good. So let's start the testing. First thing I'll do is a CG test. So I'm gonna go into an upline, go inverted, and yeah, perfect. It is perfectly neutral. So that looked really good. Very neutral. All right, yaw test. This one I go straight up in the air, kill the throttle, and watch which way it drops. And it dropped a little bit to the right. So we'll give it just a click of left, and we'll do that again one more time. You really should do that into the wind. So I'm gonna do it into the wind this time. I was kind of crosswind that time. So I'm gonna turn and make a turn into the wind and try that one more time. You still want the wind to influence the movement of the plane. Okay, there we are, into the wind. Straight up, and there's the throttle, and straight down, perfect, nice. Okay, so we've done our CG test, we've done our yaw test. Next thing we need to do is a loop, and that will tell us that our empennage is square. Our horizontal stabilizer is square with the body and the wing. So we'll do that next. Let's come around again into the wind. And I am flying on full rates, but we won't hammer the rates. So here's a loop. All I'm looking for here is a nice straight tracking loop. And that is absolutely beautiful. Perfect. And the last thing to do is a stall. So I'm gonna do the stall real quick. When I did the 300, I did it a little low to the ground, but I'm not gonna do that on this plane, sorry. I'm gonna do the stall a little bit higher. All right, there goes the power. That wasn't very good. I gotta do that again. It was too much angle up. You're not looking to put it in a post-stall mode. You just need to stall it. So the angle up should be about 30 or 40 degrees. You're not really looking to hover, right? That's not the objective here. What you're looking for is to break the lift over the wings. So we'll try that again. I'll just go into a shallow climb. There it is, there's my climb. Power's off, more elevator, and the stall was straight down. Awesome. Easy recovery too, very easy recovery. Beautiful. Excellent roll rate. Boy, you know, it's such a big plane, you kind of anticipate things being a little slow, but nope. That roll rate is really good. Really good. All right, I'm gonna do a knife edge. I wanna check for coupling and see just how neutral the plane is. So I'm gonna bring it around and we'll do a knife edge real quick.
3 minutes.
Oh my gosh, man, perfectly straight. Wow, that was nice. Very easy to handle. That's confidence inspiring. So because that was so confidence inspiring, I'm gonna do it again. This time I'm gonna do it a little closer and a little lower. All right, here goes another knife edge. I pulled toward the canopy a little bit, but that's my fault for not correcting. I should have corrected that. All right, we'll do one going the other way. Very nice. All right, that's I got the 2-minute warning, so let's try. That was a little bit of inverted, just a little test to see how I do. I'm very nervous, so I'm not gonna spend too much more time doing that. It's a big airplane, it's expensive too, so I'm just gonna practice my approach and see how it is getting it into the pattern and on the ground. And based on what I've seen so far, I don't expect much in terms of trouble. Expect it should be pretty easy. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Amazing. All right, guys, there's the maiden flight. So I'm gonna go cool down a little bit and charge some batteries up again. And I'll probably get a flight on the helicopter in the middle. And then we'll come back and fly it again after I do an inspection. I just wanna check all the nuts and bolts, make sure everything's still tight and secure. And if that's good, then I'll get out and hopefully horse around a little bit more and have some fun with it. But I hope you enjoyed the maiden flight. Stay tuned, there's more to come.
Idle up 1. Bank 3. Timer 1 elapsed. Idle up 1.
Oof. Man. The Tron 7. All right, guys, this is the second flight with the Edge 540 from Extreme Flight. I still have wind coming straight down the runway, so I'm gonna take off to the left. And this will be the second flight. I'm just gonna spend a little time getting to know her. First flight went off without a hitch. A couple clicks of elevator trim and I think a click or two of rudder, and that was it. Okay, we definitely have a little bit of wind this time, so there's the flag. It's not too gusty though. It's kind of a smooth wind, so it's manageable. And I do have an S8R on here, although I haven't used it yet, and I probably still won't until I'm very well familiar with the plane. So we'll leave that off for now. Come on, come on, come on. That was full rudder. It just kind of hung there a little bit. That's okay. Nothing wrong with it, it just hung a little. Come on around, there we go. There we go. Nice straight axial climb, that makes that maneuver easy. Knife edge is a real straight. I'm not having any problems with that. So with that, I'm going to try I'm going to pick up where I left off last week with the 300 and bring it down low. And the other thing I want to try in this flight is a Harrier, because this has that straight wing. So I kind of want to see how that straight wing does in a Harrier, because allegedly that makes Harriers better. That was a bailout. Yeah, it was coming at me that time. Try that again. I still want to try and get it a little low. Nice, good. I need practice, I know, but that's what I'm doing. All right, I'm in high rates. I'm gonna try that Harrier. I wanna see how it does on the Harrier. So there it is, that's full elevator. Pretty good, better than me for sure, but that was pretty good. Also would like to try a flat spin too, just to see how it does on that. So here we go, over, there's the wings, rudder, and elevator. Very nice flat spin. It almost hovers there in a minute. It's like it almost stalls in that flat spin for a second. That was pretty cool. Very slow though, which is neat. Another thing I've been working on a little bit is the knife edge, and then a roll to a knife edge. I've been working on that just a little bit, and seems to be pretty clean on this plane. Power for days with that sunny sky. Absolutely no problem in the vertical with the sunny sky at all. Straight up, full acceleration, it felt really good. This setup gives me, according to eCalc, it should be about 2.7 to 1. I don't have a watt meter strong enough to test this one with the 12S and that much power. The sunny sky can put out about 5,800 watts, and I just don't have anything that's strong enough to manage that. It's about the best I can do. I know a lot of you guys that fly 3D, you look for a little bit more than that, but that's about the best I've got right now. All right, well, that wraps up my initial look at the Extreme Flight Edge 540. I hope you guys enjoyed the Maiden and my first flight with this plane. I can tell you it is just beautiful in the sky. I can't find any bad behaviors. Plane clearly outflies me, so it's just a question of spending time and flying. If you follow the channel, you probably know I'm purging a lot of airplanes, so I'm kind of getting to limit my choices to some of these nicer planes. So you should expect to see more of this one and the 300 on the channel in upcoming videos. Anyway, I hope you liked my video on the Maiden and my first flights with this Extreme Flight Edge 540. If you like this kind of material, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos hit the channel. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy and go fly something. Hey, if you like the work I do here on RC Video Reviews, please consider joining me on Patreon. For about the price of a cup of coffee, you can help me keep making videos just like this one. If you'd like to help out, there's a link in the description and on your screen.